Welcome to the virtual career lounge session, helping you to be a greater you. I'm your host, Dali Perez. This lounge is designed to help middle and high school students prepare for life after high school because failing to plan is planning to fail. And today we're going to talk about the importance of careers in STEM. And we're going to discuss a little bit the significance of careers in science, technology, engineering, math, the opportunities available, and how to pursue those careers and how to see it in a different way. But before we start our conversation, we want to give a special thanks to the Career Lounge session sponsor EXL, a leading data analytics and digital operations and solutions company. Learn more about EXL going to exlservice.com. Thanks to their sponsorship, we are able to bring this lounge to you at no cost. And a little bit about us, we are Love Our Youth. It's a 501c3 nonprofit organization providing programs for youth. Our mission is to leverage the power of collaboration to uplift and empower youth and their families within our community. But before we kick off today's topic, let's learn a little bit more about our panelists. So we want to welcome them in and start off by asking of them, our panelists, to briefly introduce themselves. So please, if you can share your name, tell us a little bit about yourself, your current role at your company, and why did you choose your current career?
Sure.
Yep, you can.
Yes.
Good morning,
Yeah.
everyone. Go ahead. Good morning, everyone. My name is Arun Kumar, and I've been with EXL for more than 18 years. And overall, I have more than 22 years experience in the financial industry. And at EXL, I'm currently the global third-party administration service delivery leader. Along with that, I also manage US service delivery for our digital operations. One reason why, what brought me to EXL, certainly, as the host mentioned here, we are a data analytics organization and digital operations organization. So the keenness towards alignment towards data and making meaningful solutions value to our customers is what prompted me to join EXL. And since then, certainly it has been a journey. And with that, I'll hand it over to my co-host here, Andrew. Go ahead.
Yeah. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Arun. I'm Andrew Matheny. I've been with EXL for about 2.5 years. I have roughly 10 years of experience in the financial industry as well. So at EXL today, I am Assistant Vice President of Delivery Operations in the TPA industry, third party administration of the annuities and life insurance piece of it. A big reason why I chose EXL was because they are an industry leader in that technology space, and they're very passionate about getting data in, reading that data, and really helping their clients understand that data. Between that and the culture and opportunity is why I chose EXL.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for being here and for, being able to share your knowledge with the team, which is so important. So let's just dive into the topic of today, importance of career in STEM. So we're going to discuss a little bit what's the importance, the significance of the STEM, like science, technology, engineer, and math, and those opportunities available. So I want to kick off, this topic by asking you guys, how can a career in STEM specifically can impact the society and the future?
So, when you talk about STEM and specifically, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, right? If you look at the world around us, it's currently looking at how do we drive innovation, whether it is healthcare, whether it is climate change or technology. There is this concerted effort that is going on to bring in technology, science, math to the forefront. COVID is one of the biggest examples that we have had, where healthcare professionals kind of quickly came together, looked at how do we bring in medicines, vaccinations to the market quickly. We're looking at contact tracing. Those are all data science backed initiatives that came about in quick succession to make the world a healthier living. So there is certainly a lot of impact that STEM can drive, and make an impact to society and future. So certainly, I would encourage all youngsters to look at STEM as a career option, to not only build a better future, but also from a society perspective, making a very very big impact.
Yep. I absolutely agree, Arun, and I would say I think STEM is our future. Right. So if you think about our society and where we're going and where we've even come from over the last, let's say, decade, 10 years, the technology, the science between behind what we're doing in our world and our society has just advanced so much, and that advancement is just going to continue to grow and develop in the future. So there's definitely a ton of opportunity in the STEM fields, and it's really the path that will drive our society forward.
That's amazing. And both of you said something very important. Aaron, you said you talked about innovation, and then Andrew, you said that STEM is our future. So what would you say that what role like that innovation and also creativity plays in STEM careers? Because definitely we're changing. This is an era that everything is digital, artificial intelligence and all that. And we all need to be, changing and learning how does that work. So what would you say that innovation and creativity, it does really impact today on what's going to be the future?
Yeah, so if you look at how the market is changing, right, and I'm going to simply give an example of software development, right? uh, back in the years when I was graduating out of a college, there was so much impetus on, hey, you need to understand coding, you should be able to write these long codes, software codes, to build programs, or programming interfaces and things like that. But as technology is changing and AI is coming into being, if you look at it, it's very one, user friendly and very adaptive, and the future lies in not coding but actually adapting to the latest technologies available through AI. There are Gen AI initiatives that are in the market, that are available. So people who do not even understand complex coding can actually build applications, create newer interfaces, link multiple technologies to bring one solution into existence. So there is a lot of impetus on robotics, coding, and similar fields where the future can certainly make a drastic, a big impact in terms of how do we get solutions, changes to the market, as well as for the benefit of the society. So certainly, there is a lot of impetus. Like my son, who is 14 years old, today is started learning robotics, but at the same time he's not getting into complex codes, but he's more about utilizing some of the existing codes which are already available on the cloud, and utilizing them for creating games, creating apps, not only for his school but also for the society by and large. So certainly, there are a lot of opportunities available for teenagers, people who are vested in knowing STEM as a career, as well as taking it forward from here. So there are relatively a lot of industry best practices as well that are available, which can be implemented per se. Andrew.
Yeah, absolutely agree. And I'm going to play on one of the things you said there, Arun. You said user friendly, and I think that's a big part of what we're doing in STEM is, how do we make things user friendly for the market, for your end users, people, where we're at as a society as of today is people want things quick, they want it to be easy, and how do we play to that market? So if you go back to what you said about COVID and getting the vaccination to market quickly and making it accessible, you have to be innovative to think like that and have a speed to market solution. And that's just one example. But talking about the apps that you were just saying, Arun, and it just everybody wants things at their fingertip. They want it now, they want it quick, and they want it to be easy. And so, from a STEM perspective in the career, how do we adapt to the changes going on? AI is a huge example right now. That's the biggest thing going on. And how do you adapt and be innovative in the field so that you can drive change and go to a market and whether your end user be, somebody purchasing an app or whether it be a client that you're trying to make data sense out of, how do you be innovative in that field and adapt to changes as we progress as a society to drive us into the future?
Absolutely. And there's a couple things that both of you said that stood out that I want to touch base with that. Because definitely we live in a society that everybody wants everything like now, fast. Even if you're doing marketing, you have 3 seconds. That's it, 3 seconds to grab someone's attention, or you lose them. So in this, changing society, everything with AI that we can build, like Aaron was saying, like the software development and all that. I remember, and it came to mind when I was studying engineer, that I had to take a coding class, but we need to build the code, like write the code. It wasn't nothing about AI and on none of that. So, what would you say it would be the challenges? Because for now, even the teens, they want everything like right now. They're less patient and all that. Would you say that would be like a challenge that they would depend on AI and not necessarily learn how to do it, like how to code, or because one thing is like Andrew, you were saying like we need to give the customer what they're asking, right? Having everything user friendly and having things that are fast and they work good. That's one thing. But the other thing is that the person that's creating that, would you say that will be like a challenge in the future, like learning really how to do it, or depending on just AI? How do you see that transition?
Yeah, see, uh, couple of things, and you bring about a very valid point here, right? Because end of the day, when you talk about AI, you need to understand what the underlying objective is that you're trying to accomplish here, right? And then AI does um, have a problem with you can see problem or an opportunity you may want to refer as hallucination, or say for example at times, because these are codes, or say for example instances that may have been utilized in the past and may not be applicable for a situation that you are trying to either code or come to market with a certain product or a feature, say for example, right? So that's where the under fundamental knowledge of, you can say, what you're trying to accomplish. Say for example you're trying to build an app, right? So you need to understand what those features may look like, or what is the target customer that you are trying to serve. And for that, persistency becomes key. And practice also becomes another factor along with persistency, that you have to make sure that you are continuously testing your models, and as well as because some codes are available on the internet, through various portals. It's not just simply copy pasting the codes or replicating the codes. It's also about aligning the outcome to the end objective that you're trying to drive. So yes, it's not just simply blindly copying somebody's code or some available codes or what is available on the internet. It's also, no first of all, investing your time in learning the fundamentals of whatever practice that you're trying to drive, whether it is data analytics, or it is data research, or scientific constructs. But at the same time, the more you practice, the more you test these theories, or I would say these validations, certainly will help you become a much more successful, say for example in the field of data science, will help you become a better data scientist. And end of the day, it's a competitive environment, and if you are doing well, certainly that will take your career leaps and bounces. But at the same time, the validation of what you're trying to do comes with experience, and experience comes with the amount of practice that you've put in building these softwares or data models, so on and so forth. So certainly, from a school perspective, getting in, enrolling yourself into the right curriculum as well as the right fields is going to be important, and at the same time practicing what you are learning at school or through various other tutorial assignments, whether it is online or instructor led. The more you practice, the more you're persistent, the more you test your theories, is going to make you successful.
Absolutely agree. And I would say, it's change, right? And without a doubt, change can be scary and change can be hard. But I think, you have to remind yourself that try to make it not scary, right? I think flexibility is very key to success, right? So right now, AI is very big, and everybody's kind of learning how to use it. It's not as much about how is AI replacing people's jobs, but how can it supplement your job? And that's how I would challenge people to think about it: is how can we utilize AI to supplement and make our jobs easier, and make it something to where we can excel even more. So I think that flexibility as we move forward into the future is going to be key to anybody's success, because today it's AI, 15 years from now it might be something different. Right. So I think flexibility is going to be something that's key in the future, and making sure that you're taking your classes, you're learning what's the big thing going on. As to Arun's point, whether that's going online and supplementing your studies with instructor led classes online, but really diving into to what's going on in the market and what's going on in the society, and using that. Once again, change can be scary, but really utilizing that to your advantage to supplement your job and drive your business forward.
Absolutely. And definitely, like you said, be on top of that, not just depending on AI, but complement because at the end, I mean, technology is great, but sometimes it doesn't go, it doesn't support us, if you will. So we have to have that knowledge, we have to have that learning, and then supplement with the technology, with the AI and all that. So what would you say, like, if teenagers that are watching us and all that, what is that skill that maybe, because they're maybe exploring, they don't know what to do, but they have some sort of skills that may lead them to a STEM career? What would you say could be those skills, those abilities of those things that they like, that might be something that could lead them, to choose a STEM career?
See, at very basic, I always, not only to my team members, but I also, encourage my kids uh, to question the obvious, right? You have to be inquisitive uh, to understand what's happening around you, right? And you don't have to be, and at this stage, when you are, say, for example, getting into high school, uh, there isn't a favorite subject because you're still exploring the world around you. You're exploring these new streams that come across. So even if you have basic understanding of mathematics, science, engineering, I would recommend certainly, explore different options that are available in school. Start with the basics. Do not get into, high end courses, because if your foundation is not strong, certainly you will start hating certain subjects because you've taken a giant leap and then you're not able to cope up with the speed of the class, right? So I would always urge that start with basics. Things like you can choose AP in chemistry, or calculus, or robotics, or simplified physics and things like that. uh, and be open to multiple avenues, be open to learning. uh, and it's a big world out there, and the opportunities are plenty. So going back to what I said, right, learning the foundations is the key, and practicing it from there is going to be the second step. So certainly my recommendation is going to be that if you have to choose streams like data science or data analytics, or infosec analysis, software development, or any medical field for that matter, choose the right foundational course right at school, and keep your inquisitiveness open, keep that learning mindset open, because the 4 years that you spend at high school certainly will build that strong foundation, so that when once you get into college, different universities, your foundation, your fundamentals are very clear, right? So that's what I would recommend to start with. But Andrew, feel free to add anything that you want add upon.
Yeah, I think you said it really well there, Arun. I would, what I would add is you got to find what you're passionate about, right? To be successful in any type of industry, you're going to have to be passionate about what you're doing. And thinking about STEM in general, STEM is very large, right? It's not just being a scientist, being an engineer, although obviously those things are in the STEM field. STEM is a lot larger than that, and it touches a lot of industries that you might not think of, on the surface. For instance, I never thought growing up when I was in middle school or even high school that I would be in the life insurance and annuity industry. But what I did is I found that I was passionate about this, and that's really what's helped drive my career. So I would say, STEM is a very large field. There's a lot of things that you can dive into, build that foundation, like Arun said, take those entry level classes across the different areas and find what you're passionate about. Because if you're not passionate about it, then it's going to be just one of those jobs where you go in every day and you're just punching a time clock, and you're kind of just going through life one day at a time. Versus if you're passionate about it, then you're going to enjoy what you're doing and you're much more likely to succeed in it. I would also say, keep learning, always keep learning. Going back to what we were saying about AI and stuff, the world is changing so fast, and so there's no time where you ever stop learning. Just always be flexible, always keep learning every day.
I agree 100%. And also with the learning mindset, like that's one of my, you know, mottos, if you will. Like I always like to keep learning because we never stop learning. We always, grow. And Andrew, you mentioned like the STEM arena is so broad and it's a lot of stuff, right, that they can pick. So can you guys talk about that, like those different examples, those different professions, careers that are inside of STEM, like examples that you can give from those professions that can give these things the idea what is it about and how broad it is.
Yeah, so there are multiple, career streams if you look at it, right? So, like, say for example, when both me and Andrew are aligned to the financial industry, specifically within insurance, and within insurance itself, there are multiple streams. So you can look at property and casualty, which is your auto insurance, your home insurance, um, things like that. Similarly, when you talk about life and annuity, there's life insurance. Then of course there is these financial and annuity related insurance. uh, Apart from that, you can look at banking, you can look at medical. Specifically within medical, if you look at, one of the examples that comes to my mind is biomedical engineering, right? In biomedical engineering, you can look at, how can you bring about a change in the society through prosthetics, or when I say prosthetics, it is artificial support, for limbs and things like that. And then there is so much science behind it today that you can control these prosthetics through mind control, right? So and then you can talk about from a science and technology perspective. You can look at, one of the biggest example that you saw recently was SpaceX, which is Elon Musk. They were able to catch a rocket mid-air while coming back, which is never thought about, right? So there are plenty of opportunities in various fields. You talk about insurance, you talk about banking, you talk about medical. Uh, then data analytics is also one of the leading career streams that a lot of these universities are offering nowadays. And because it's all about data, right? So say for example, when you go to a website and you log on to the internet, you know everything gets tracked in terms of what shopping websites you're clicking on, or say for example which product you're clicking on. And based on that, there is this data that is getting analyzed in terms of your preference, your mindset. And based on that, a lot of these marketing organizations are now promoting their goods and services, which are targeted to your needs as well as requirements. So certainly data science, technology, there are plethora of these opportunities that are available. And certainly the foundational courses available at school certainly provide the value to pick and choose depending upon, to Andrew's earlier point about passion, what you're passionate about. At least you have the opportunities at school as well as universities to pursue that passion. And once you graduate out of, whether it is a school, college, depending upon what you want to do in life, whether it's doing a job or starting up your own business, your passion as well as aligned with these various streams that are available in colleges as well as schools can certainly help you become much more successful with the right passion as well as with the right practice. Andrew, go ahead.
Yeah, I think you said it just about all of it, Arun. I would say, when you think about STEM, it's almost everywhere, right? Technology is everywhere, mathematics is everywhere. If it, you just gotta find where you kind of fit into the puzzle there. Insurance is a great example, and all the different channels of insurance. But if you think about our supply chain, warehousing, technology that's within those areas of the business, even, restaurants and stuff, all the technology that is going into our society today, whether it's, ordering stuff on a mobile app or whether it's paying on a tablet, and all those apps that have to go into that, is really in any industry you're going to find some type of STEM field um, associated with that industry. And if you can't find it, then it's probably coming, and that's an opportunity as well.
What would you say? Because both of you have mentioned passion, right? Knowing what's your passion, what's your interest, and we talked a little bit about that. What could that be? How could that sound like? But like in our society, in our school system, well, it's like the same system for everybody, right? So not everybody likes science, not everybody likes, ELA, not everybody likes the different topics. So what would you say to this specific students that they do like science, they do like math, they do like the STEM arena, but they don't like history, they don't like, ELA and those English topics, and they're more inclined. And sometimes maybe the school or the parents or the society like wants them to be good at everything, and not everybody is good at everything. So what would you say to those students that they feel like maybe they need to be good at everything, but they know that they're more inclined to the STEM? What would you say to them, and how important it is, what you think about that, right? Like to build on your strengths, if it's STEM or whatever it is. And what would you say to them that maybe they're in this dilemma, if you will, that they're trying to be good at everything, but really, really they're more passionate about STEM?
Yeah, so very very good. First of all, let me just accept that it's a very good question, because uh, when I look back into history, growing up until ninth grade, uh, I hated math. Uh, but it was when I moved into 10th grade, that's when one of my teachers, my maths teachers, kind of helped me with the subject, and it was more about practice, and then she made it fun, learning, understanding math, right? And then at that point of time, my question to her was that, hey, why should I learn this Pythagoras theorem, right? Where do I apply this? I'm not going to apply this during my regular work, or say for example if I'm running a business. uh, to that, today when I correlate what she said at that point of time, and when I look at the portfolios that I manage today, it's not about learning that formula, it's more about problem solving as well as critical thinking, right? So you never know when something is utilized from what you may have learned in the past, right? So whether it is history, you need to know why something happened. You need to know from history, if I just were to give you an example, that learning from what certain things may have already been accomplished or may have been tried, but what people were unsuccessful. But at the same time, going back to the subject on math, the example that I was giving, today we come across multiple problems, whether it is industry, whether it is outside the organization or within the organization. The foundational learning that was imbibed in us, whether it is one subject or multiple subjects, what it has helped us is to make us much more successful, because we are able to apply those things in our day-to-day lives, both, as I said, within our personal realm of things, but as well as within the organization, as well managing customers, dealing with business problems. So we are able to apply those logic. So I certainly urge that while you should certainly follow your passion, which could be one of the subjects, it could be science, it could be math, but at the same time, it is a holistic development of an individual. And that's where these other subjects come into play, because it gives you a holistic development rather than just targeting on one critical subject or one core subject. So that's what my recommendation is going to be. So it's an overall development, but at the same time, your core is going to be that passion that you want to drive throughout your life.
Yeah, and the only thing I think I would add to that would be, your passion can develop over time. I won't even say change, right? But it can develop over time. And like Arun said, you never know what you're going to learn in the different areas. And sometimes it's as simple as, like Arun said, maybe you just have a new teacher in a subject and they're approaching the study in a different way that makes it fun. You never know where that hidden gem is, I would say, where you're going to learn something new that can either help you with your passion or it develops your passion maybe in a slightly different direction that takes you, you know, down a different industry, maybe same field of STEM, but really diverts your path to a different part of the industry. You never know, and looking at these things as an opportunity versus a requirement is really the kind of the mindset that I would challenge people to take. Is, yes, do we all have to go and take those classes that sometimes maybe we don't think are as important or we're not as passionate about? We do, but that's an opportunity to learn new things. It's an opportunity to connect dots and build that foundation once again, versus, if you think about it as a requirement, then you're probably not going to get as much out of it.
Absolutely. Everything complements and everything adds to our lives. And like you mentioned, the critical thinking. So these days, with everything so fast, that's some of the things that's maybe we're lacking in this growing generation, though, those problem solving and critical thinking, which is extremely, extremely important. And something that Aaron, you mentioned before, it was like starting your own business and stuff like that. So how can you, both of you can express, can connect? Because sometimes when we think of STEM, we think like big companies or data or, technology and, people working for someone. However, STEM could be also building your own business. So how would that look like? Because sometimes, there's that passion now of being an entrepreneur and having your own thing. So how could that translate for these teens that maybe they want to have their own thing, but also they're passionate about the STEM field?
Yeah, so if you look at these big organizations, right? You talk about Amazon, or you talk about Meta, the erstwhile Facebook. Uh, these were not these never started off as big organizations, right? They started off from a garage, right, or a small hotel, not a hotel, sorry, a college dorm, and things like that. But it's more about, again, we're just going to go back to what we spoke about earlier, is the passion, right? But at the same time, while the founders of these organizations were passionate about the end objective, but at the same time, the building blocks of that passion that they were trying to, and the value that they were trying to accomplish, certainly what the background of it was certainly and if you join the dots, it's associated with one of the fields within STEM, right? So say, for example, if you talk about Meta, it was more about, hey, bringing the society together, and for that, building a platform which certainly had technology involved, but at the same time, the right science involved in terms of coding, in terms of analyzing data. Similarly, on the if you look at Amazon, it started off as shopping of books, but at the same time, the value was that they expanded the entire portfolio to not only just books, but also other services as well as products which the consumer required. But at the same time, it was more about how to market it properly. What are the how do we capture what the customer needs are, So certainly, whether you are moving into a job, uh, but or if you are building a successful career by starting off your own business, uh, the value that you are able to drive by aligning or by learning these subjects within STEM certainly can be utilized to run a successful business. But at the same time, when you're starting small, you will have to have a understanding of various virtues of running a business, whether it is marketing, whether it is customer acquisition, or it is more about based how do we collect feedback from the customers, because you need to reiterate as well as make changes to your product depending upon the market needs as well as what the customer requirements are. And then of course the end of the day, selling it to the customers as well as the right marketable areas, so that you are able to execute your value proposition correctly, as well as end of the day, of course it is more about how do we make money out of bringing everything together, and various business functions running seamlessly. uh, so that's how I would recommend, start small, but at the same time follow the passion. But to follow your passion, you certainly need the right knowledge, and that right knowledge certainly comes with investing your time and energy in various fields associated with science, or whether it is engineering, or whether it is technology, or it is mathematics. All these things do come together to run a successful career, not only as a job but as well as from a business perspective.
And what I would include in that is and I know this is conflicting with what we said earlier, but patience, right? And so I know earlier we talked about our society and how we want things now, and we want things at our fingertips, and we want things quickly. But whether you're talking about a career and a job that's at an existing company, or if you're trying to start your own career, patience is part of that. Things don't happen overnight, or very rarely do they happen overnight. And so you can't, they say the old cliche, you can't boil the ocean, right? It's going to take time. Success takes time, whether that's starting your own business, or in a career where you're developing your career, and expanding your career within an existing company. Things take time, and they don't happen overnight. And so you can't give up, right? You got to keep that passion alive, and don't give up on what you're trying to accomplish.
That's amazing. Thank you. Thank you guys so much for that. We're going to switch a little bit now for hot seat questions. So these questions are to get you know a little bit better. It's a little bit more fun. So I want to ask you guys, if you could have dinner with any person, it could be dead or it could be alive, who that person would be and why?
So I certainly would like to have you know a one-on-one, or I would say a meeting with Jeff Bezos from Amazon. I certainly would like to understand, how did he build, such a big business? What are the key, takeaways or the feedback that he would like to offer? Uh, I would say to budding professionals like us. So certainly, Amazon is a very big example. I certainly want to learn from their growth.
I'm going to take it a little bit different way here. I'm a huge sports fan, and I'm a huge Kansas City Chiefs fan, and I know that might get some people out there that maybe don't like that, but I would say Clark Hunt from the Kansas City Chiefs. And if you think about it, the Chiefs organization as a whole, and everything they've accomplished, and him really being at the top of that organization, and dealing with the success and that type of stuff, and really learning from him on how he's adapting through all the change in the society and everything going on. That's really the path I would take.
That's amazing. I will say if I go more like in the spiritual way, I will have a conversation with Jesus. I have a
Oh,
lot of questions for him. So what would be if there's any instrument, for example, that you I don't know if you guys play any instrument, but if not, or if there's any other different, if there's any instrument that you want to master, what instrument would that be?
I would love to play drums. Uh, so, growing up as a child, I did try my luck with drums, but again, I had conflicting priorities into sports as well as education, so kind of left that there. But if given an opportunity, I certainly would like to pursue that.
What
I
type of
was
music do you like? I'm sorry, Andrew. I interrupt you.
Oh, no, that's okay. I was also going to say drums, because that's what I always wanted to learn growing up. I did play an instrument growing up. I would by no means say I was an expert or master at it. I was not very good at all. So since drums was taken, I would move on to guitar. When I was young, I my parents bought me a guitar, but I really never learned it. And if I could go back, I would definitely learn to play guitar.
That's awesome. So you guys can learn drum and guitar and then make a band. The
Yeah,
both of
there
you.
you go.
That'll be amazing. I started
Of
to
course,
learn
yes.
piano when I was little, but yeah, never quite finished. So I would like to, take that again and learn how to play the piano. Definitely. Um, so what this last question will be, what impact do you wish or do you hope to have in this world?
Yeah, so see, I certainly want to bring about a change in the financial industry. I want to be known for driving that change. Uh, well, I'm working towards it. Do I have an idea? Do I have a vision? At this point of time, I would say no, because as Andrew mentioned earlier, you know, things keep changing. Your passion may change, but at the same time, I certainly want to drive that value and bring about a change within the financial industry. So there are certain ideas that I have in mind, which I want to pursue, which I am pursuing at this point of time. But I want to be known for that change. So I'm certainly striving towards it. And to your point that you made earlier, that you are always learning. So it's not just when I graduated, when I started working, the education stopped there. Even now, for that matter, every week I have my own individual goal of spending, at least 4 hours adding value to myself, learning new things, getting new additional certifications, so that I'm able to adapt to the constant changes that there are there in the industry.
I would love to leave the world a better place in whatever capacity that I'm able to, and whether that's through my career and making changes, or being just a kind person in general. I have three daughters that I definitely want to leave the world a better place for. But I've also been a volunteer firefighter and things like that. So just whether it's as small as in your community, making change there to make your community a better place, or how large you can scale that, just whenever you can brighten somebody's day, or make a positive change in somebody's world, or the world as a whole, is really what I would like to accomplish.
That's amazing. And I would agree with that. Like, it could be, I hope to make a change in people or inspire change, whether it's professional, whether it's personal, whether it's spiritual, that any people that I'm engaged with, that I inspire something in them. So that's my hope. That's the change that I want to make in this world. So thank you, thank you, thank you so much for being here with me. So before we leave this conversation, is there any final thoughts that you want to bring into this topic?
Yeah, as closing comments, I just want to summarize that, there are a plethora of opportunities available today. Certainly follow your passion, but at the same time, let's make sure that you are exploring all avenues that are available in today's education setup, whether it is school or colleges. There are plenty of opportunities. So certainly, making a world a better place, whether you are doing a job or whether you're running your own business. Uh, it's more about a holistic development as well as following that passion, right? So be the best at what you want to follow, because again, let's remember it's a race, and normally people don't remember who was at the second place or the third place. So be the best at what you want to do, and follow your passion. Thank you.
I couldn't say it better myself. Be the best at what you want to do. Always strive to be the best, right? Stay open minded. You never know when that next opportunity is going to come across your plate, and you don't know what kind of opportunity it's going to be or what form it's going to come in. So stay open minded. Don't close doors that you don't necessarily need to close. Right? This is a as you get into a certain field, some fields are small, and you never know when you're going to interact with somebody that then could give you an opportunity down the road. So stay open minded, keep striving, stay passionate, and that's the best advice I think I can give.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. I think we talked and we covered a lot, and I know this is going to be very helpful for the team. So thank you so much to you for being here, for taking the time to be here and be part of this virtual career and lounge session. And thank you, all of you, for joining us. We hope that this conversation has given you insights and clarity in making plans for life after school. And special thanks to the Career Lounge session sponsor, EXL, a leading data analytics and digital operation solutions company. If you want to learn more about EXL, go to exlservice.com. And thanks to their sponsorship, we are able to bring this lounge to you at no cost. So we look forward to seeing you at the next Career Lounge sessions. All the sessions are here on YouTube. So make sure you go to our channel, you subscribe, go to the playlist, you like, you share, you comment with all of your friends, because remember that we need to plan for the future. Thank you for so much for joining us. See you next time.